A big show for you on this Thursday morning. I want to bring in our powerhouse panel today. We start with former Nevada State GOP Chairwoman Amy Tarkanian back with us today. Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps is here again. Chris, good to see you. And former Trump campaign aide Rick Gates is here as well. And Rick, I'm going to start with you. This was news that sort of started to develop late yesterday. Those meetings that are happening between the U.S. and Iran in Austria, in Vienna. Several other nations are there, several nations from the EU. China is there, Russia is there. The U.S. is apparently ready to lift the sanctions on Tehran in order for us to rejoin that possibly flawed 2015 Iran nuclear deal. I wanted to get your thoughts on that if it does in fact happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work left to be done. But, you know, it was interesting in 2016 when President Trump was campaigning, this was a big issue for him. He, constantly did not understand the naivete of Obama and Biden with respect to negotiating with Iran and leaving out key issues. Like, they didn't talk about the missile program with Iran. They didn't talk about Iran's terrorism. They left those issues off the table. And in the end, as everybody knows, there's a great photo op of, about 400 million on a pallet flying into Iran, which Obama did secretly.
Right.
There are a lot of issues with this deal. It's a dangerous deal. I think that, the talks are interesting that are going on right now. They're talking back and forth between the U.S. and Iran through European intermediaries that are shuttling between the building that they're in and the hotel that the U.S. delegation is staying in. So, development, yes, positive. I think there's going to be a lot more to work out, and it's going to take a lot more time.
Amy, I have a question for you in just a moment, but let's not forget the Iranian regime has no respect for the United States. Right after the Obama administration signed that 2015 deal, which didn't stop them from doing anything, it just delayed the production of nuclear weapons. Iranian-backed Houthis invaded Yemen and toppled the government, and President Obama let that happen, and that was just after the original deal was done. So my question here is, the Biden administration now heading toward a major foreign policy mistake?
Yes, I do believe it's going to be a major mistake, and they're capitulating and they're basically just appeasing Iran. Iran is now in the driver's seat, and they are well aware of that. The fact that we now know that they've dramatically increased the amount of enriching uranium, and they've been this entire time hiding nuclear activity. This is extremely concerning. Not only do they not like us, they hate us. They hate our allies. I don't see how this is going to be helpful at all to go back into this terrible deal that President Trump got us out of in 2018. Right. It all started in 1984 with Democrat and Republican administrations actually labeling different entities within Iran as terrorist groups. So this is not new that this is going to be a mess.
Yeah, President Trump, very simply put it, he just said it was a bad deal. I'd like to talk about what's going on our southern border right now. Chris, there was a video that started circulating yesterday, a little boy, a Nicaraguan boy, who had been separated from his family. I want to play this video, and then we'll get some reaction. Take a look.
¿Ah? ¿Me puede ayudar? ¿Qué pasó? Es que yo venía con un grupo de personas y me dejaron botar y no sé dónde están. No sé dónde están. ¿Te dejaron solo? Pues claro, me dejaron botado. ¿Te dejaron solo botado? Solo. ¿No vienes con mami o con papi o con nadie? ¿Ah? ¿Vienes con tu mamá o tu papá? Nadie. Yo venía en un grupo que venía de entrega con usted y al final me dejaron botado y venía aquí a pedir auxilio.
Speechless, Chris. You see something like that. He looks like he's a 10-year-old little kid separated from his family. It breaks your heart. This is Joe Biden's America right now. This is what's happening on our southern borders.
Yeah, the party that always touts itself as being for the children is really letting the children down in this case. We've seen the pictures that were smuggled out of children in sleeping bags, sleeping right next to each other. We saw the videos last week of toddlers being dropped from the border wall, 14 feet down. We just see this video of this 10-year-old child. I listened to a podcast by Chuck Todd, MSNBC person, and he said something to me yesterday that just blew my mind. He said, what kind of people, or how could these people, how hard a decision was it to leave this child in the desert? And I'm like shaking my head. It was an easy decision for them. They don't care about these children. They're all just a profit for them. So this is a disaster. Kamala Harris hasn't been down to the border yet. This situation is just going to get worse until the president and the administration address it.
Yeah, she apparently spoke to the president of Mexico yesterday. Who knows what they talked about? But Rick, and this, I'll put this in very simple terms. According to the Border Patrol, up to 184,000 unaccompanied minors, just like that little boy right there, could cross the border in 2021. 184,000. That's the estimate. That's how bad this problem is right now.
Yeah, there's an average of 26,000 undocumented, unaccompanied children coming across the border each month. And that, seems to not be diminishing at all. And Kamala Harris, appointed 2 weeks ago as the immigration czar, has not only not visited down to the border, she's not even held a press conference on the issue. And she can travel to California, she can travel to Connecticut, she can do COVID events, she can do an infrastructure event with the president, but she can't get down to the border and do a job that she was tasked with doing. And that's, in my opinion, because she's afraid to, because she knows that the issue is so severe, it's such a drastic humanitarian crisis that she says can't be solved overnight, yet the Biden administration created this crisis overnight in one day.
This is absolutely death by 1,000 paper cuts, a self-inflicted wound. Amy, we had Ukrainian immigrant and Congresswoman Victoria Sparks on the show here a couple of days ago. She was at the border, and she spoke yesterday about what she saw. And I'll tell you what, she was very upset, to say the least. Take a listen.
Let's just talk about some numbers. 40% of our Border Patrol agents are busy processing people and changing diapers. It means that they cannot do their job protecting the borders. What does it mean? It means that Mexican cartels are controlling the border. It means that we have 1,000 people just at this location per day crossing the border, that they see them on the video, but they cannot act to that.
That's the situation, Amy. I just want to get your reaction, but that's what people that work with the Border Patrol are doing right now. Literally changing diapers and attending to children instead of doing what they were trained and hired to do.
Right, and it's extremely upsetting, and she's 100% correct from everything that we're hearing coming directly from the Border Patrol agents and not through the Biden administration. They've put a muzzle on our Border Patrol agents. They've put a muzzle on our media being able to relay the correct information, and basically it's a disinformation campaign that they are pushing. I'm a mother of 4. Right. My youngest is 11. Watching that video that you just played of that young boy is gut-wrenching, and it brings me to tears every single time. I could not imagine my child wandering around in the desert being abused and left alone like that to die. They see these children as dollar signs, and that's it.
You watched the video, and part of me was happy that that video came out yesterday, just because I know that little boy is going to be okay versus wandering around the desert alone where he could die. But also because I think if the vice president or President Biden sees that video, it almost forces them to act. And we're going to keep playing that video here on Wake Up this morning. It's just that emotional.
And you know what, though, Rob? It's only one child that we've caught. How many are actually already dead in the desert? We don't even know.
Yeah. And Rob, not only do they see them as dollar signs, they also see them as potential voters, because they're going to let these children in, and then they're going to start a reunification program to bring their mother, their father, and all of their brothers and sisters over. So this is basically just a dramatic Democratic future registration voter drive. Yeah, you make up a great point. Gallup, by the way, one of the most esteemed used to be one of the most esteemed polling groups. Gallup estimates that there are 42 million people in Latin America right now that want to come to the United States. Imagine if that ended up happening. It would be blue America. We've got about a minute left. You guys are going to be back with us at the top of the hour, but the president was out speaking about this infrastructure bill, Rick, yesterday, and he says that he wants this to be a bipartisan bill. We'll play the soundbite, then get quick reaction. Take a listen.
Democrats and Republicans will have ideas about what they like and what they don't like about our plan. That's a good thing. That's the American way. That's the way democracy works. Debate is welcome. Compromise is inevitable. Changes are certain. In the next few weeks, the Vice President and I will be meeting with Republicans and Democrats to hear from everyone. And we'll be listening. We'll be open to good ideas and good faith negotiations. But here's what we won't be open to. We will not be open to doing nothing.
We won't be open to changing the bill. That's what we're not going to be open to. Rick, your reaction. Do you think this is just for the cameras, or is he, in fact, going to listen to what Republicans have to say?
No, I think it's for the cameras. And I think, look, this is the self-reported unifier in chief, and he is now back on the message trail of trying to get support, because at the end of the day, he knows that he needs at least some tacit Republican approval or support to guide this in the right direction. The problem is that it's not an infrastructure bill. A very small fraction, I think 6% of the actual money allocated is for real infrastructure projects. They've packed the bill with so many things unrelated to infrastructure that even moderate Democrats in the Senate are opposed to it. So Biden's got a really, really difficult, position right now. And this is exactly why he's talking as he did yesterday, because he knows he needs that bipartisan support. He doesn't have it, and the bill's going to go down in flames if he doesn't get it.
All right, panel, we'll pick this back up in just a little bit. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again at the top of the hour.